Zina has grown too beautiful. Look at her skin.
The day Zina was born, the midwife stepped out of the hut and announced it before anyone even asked. It's a girl, and this child is too fine. Women gathered immediately. They entered one by one, pretending they came to check on the mother, but truly they came to see the baby. Zina lay wrapped in a white cloth, her tiny face calm. Look at her nose. See her lips. This one will marry a king. Her mother smiled weakly, exhausted but happy. By the time Zina was 1 year old, women were already bringing small gifts whenever they visited. Beads, ribbons, tiny bangles. As a toddler, she did not walk unnoticed. If she followed her mother to the market, traders would stop her. "Come here, fine girl." They would pinch her cheeks gently and laugh. When she turned 5, the praise grew louder. When she turned 10, it became constant. Zina grew up in a house where beauty was mentioned every single day. "You are the most beautiful child in this village. No one shines like you. Even the chief's daughter cannot compare." And slowly, without anyone realizing it, those words began planting seeds. By 13, Zina had learned how to walk slowly when passing groups of people. She knew how to tilt her head slightly. She knew how to smile just enough. And the village responded. Boys stared when she fetched water. They whispered when she passed by. Some pretended to be going the same direction she was going, just to walk behind her. Women commented openly. Zina has grown too beautiful. Look at her skin. See her legs. Sometimes they said these things in front of other girls, even in front of her own younger sister. Her sister Ada was quiet and soft-spoken. She did not draw attention. She stayed close to her mother and helped with chores. But comparisons became frequent. Zina is far more beautiful than her sister. It's like they are not even from the same womb. Each time such comments were made, Zina's mother would frown. "Enough," she would say firmly. "Do not compare my children. Beauty is not a competition."
My daughter, do not let people's words enter your head too much.
Zina would nod, but she did not really listen, because outside the house, the praise continued. Her best friend Mimi grew up with Zina. They used to run barefoot in the sand together. They used to share roasted corn and secrets. At 15, Zina began believing something firmly. Her beauty was power. And power meant she did not have to try too hard. If someone annoyed her, she insulted them, called them ugly. If a girl borrowed her comb and forgot to return it immediately, she would say,
"Be careful. Not everyone can carry this kind of hair."
When a new girl moved into the village and boys started greeting her too, Zina's smile became tighter. She told one girl once,
"You're trying too hard." "What? I don't understand."
Even her tone began to change. Softer when speaking to boys, sharper when speaking to girls. Mimi once said gently,
"You don't have to talk like that."
Zina laughed. "Mimi, face card never declines." She flipped her hair dramatically. "I don't need to stress. I was born blessed." Her mother heard that statement one evening and sighed deeply.
My daughter, beauty is a gift, but pride can turn a gift into a curse.
"Mama, you worry too much."
But something inside her was growing. Not confidence, not self-love, something heavier, something sharper, pride. She began to see herself as different from the other girls, above them. When Zina finished secondary school, she did not hesitate.
"Mama, I don't want to just stay in this village. I love fashion. I want to learn how to sew."
Her mother looked at her carefully. "You are serious?" Zina nodded. For once, there was no pride in her voice, just fire. "I don't just want to wear fine clothes. I want to make them. I want people to know my name." Her mother smiled softly. At least, this dream involved work. Within a month, Zina was enrolled in the biggest tailoring shop in the village. It was not a grand place, just a zinc-roofed structure with 3 sewing machines and colorful fabrics hanging from nails on the wall. But to Zina, it felt like the beginning of something greater. She learned quickly how to measure, how to cut patterns, how to fix a neckline, how to shape a waistline perfectly. Her hands were steady, her eyes were sharp, and soon she began sewing dresses for herself. She would try them on in the mirror in her room and smile slowly. Then she would step outside. under the big orange tree in their compound.
Mimi! Mimi! Mimi!
She would call. Mimi would come running from her house next door. Come and judge me.
Yes, Zina, own that pose. You look incredible. Shoulders back, chin up. You're ready to shine. That's it. You're going to turn heads. Perfect. You're ready.
Then she would strut from one end of the compound to the other like a runway model. Left foot, right foot, pause, turn, flip her hair. Mimi would clap dramatically. Zina would grin. I'm telling you, Mimi, one day I will be like those top models. I will walk on big runways, cameras flashing, designers fighting to dress me. Mimi would laugh and say, when you blow, I will be your personal assistant. I will be carrying your bag and saying, please give her space. They would both laugh loudly. Under that orange tree, dreams felt real. At night, after everyone slept, Zina would lie awake staring at the ceiling. In her mind, she was no longer in the village. She was in a big city. Tall buildings, bright lights, crowds clapping as she walked confidently on a long, shining runway. Her name printed on banners. Zina, Zina, Zina. On Sundays after church, Mimi and Zina had a routine. They would walk to their neighbor's house.
Auntie, please can we borrow your phone small?
Ah, my dears, I was just about to use it.
Please, Auntie, just for a moment.
All right, but bring it back soon.
Then Mimi would whisper excitedly, come, let's go under that tree. There is network there. They would sit under the mango tree at the edge of the compound, lifting the phone high in the air to catch signal. Finally, the video would load. Fashion shows, models walking confidently, spotlights, applause. Zina would stare intensely. She would mimic the walk immediately after watching. Even when other girls passed by, she would not stop. If someone laughed, she would raise her chin higher.
Laugh now. When I leave this village, you people will remember me.
Her ambition was not small. At the tailoring shop, if another apprentice stitched something wrong, Zina would smirk. Is that what you call a sleeve? When customers came in, she positioned herself in front, ensuring they noticed her first. If a girl wore a new dress to church, Zina would whisper to Mimi.
The cut is wrong. If I made it, it would sit better.
Mimi sometimes laughed. Sometimes she looked uncomfortable, but she rarely corrected her. One afternoon when they were watching fashion shows, Mimi said gently,
Those models didn't just wake up there. They worked hard. They trained. I know, but they make it look so easy. Beauty like mine? I just need an opportunity. Once they see me, that's it.
She believed it fully. Her face card had never declined. People still stared when she passed. Women still whispered. Even at the tailoring shop, customers often said, you are the finest here. And each compliment added fuel to something dangerous. In the same village where Zina walked like a queen, there was another girl. Her name was Peace. Peace was Zina's classmate in secondary school. She was beautiful too, but shy. But her beauty did not shout. Her skin was smooth, her features balanced, her smile soft. She did not walk with drama. She did not tilt her head for attention. She simply moved like someone who knew herself. Sometimes even Peace's mother would carelessly say,
If only you had Zina's kind of beauty.
Mama, beauty is not a competition. Everyone shines differently.
Her mother would shake her head. But Peace meant every word. She also had the same dream, modeling, runways, big stages. But she never announced it loudly. Her aunt, who lived in the city, the woman traded palm oil and came to the village every few weeks to restock and check on family. Unlike many adults who only gossiped, her aunt paid attention. One afternoon, she caught Peace practicing a runway walk behind their house. Left foot, right foot, turn, pause, chin steady. The aunt clapped softly. Who taught you that? Peace laughed shyly. Nobody, auntie. From that day, whenever the aunt visited, she would hand Peace her smartphone. Watch properly, she would say. Not just the clothes. Watch their posture. Watch their confidence. But she didn't stop there. She also introduced Peace to something new.
Watch self-development videos too. Learn how to speak. Learn how to carry yourself. Beauty alone is not enough.
Peace listened. When other girls were gossiping in the evenings, Peace sometimes sat quietly watching interviews of top models, how they answered questions, how they spoke about kindness, how they handled criticism.
Welcome. First, maintain eye contact and a confident posture. Now, let's discuss your walk and expressions.
She practiced speaking in front of the mirror. She trained herself to stay composed. She learned how to smile without forcing it. She learned how to stand without slouching. She prepared in silence. Months later, her aunt returned from the city with news.
There is a modeling agency scouting for fresh faces. They are looking beyond the city now. They want raw talent.
Peace's heart beat faster. Her aunt nodded thoughtfully. There are beautiful girls in this village. I told them that. True to her word, she passed information to one of the agents she knew. 2 weeks later, a white bus entered the village.
People gathered immediately. The town crier made the announcement.
A modeling agency is here. They are looking for young ladies who can model properly.
Excitement spread like wildfire. The reward was announced clearly. A full scholarship to study in the university, professional training under one of the top models in the country, and the opportunity to contest for the next face of the state. The village erupted in noise. Girls began whispering. Mothers began calculating. Zina heard it too. She smiled slowly. Of course they would come. Where else would they find someone like her? But in another corner of the village, Peace closed her eyes briefly. Not to boast, not to assume, but to prepare. And somewhere between loud confidence and quiet discipline, a competition was about to begin. When the announcement spread through the village, Zina didn't panic. She didn't even prepare immediately. Instead, she smiled. She truly believed she was the only one qualified.
They came because of me. You think so? Of course. Who else in this village can model like me?
That evening, she began boasting openly. Girls gathered around her compound, whispering excitedly about the competition. Zina stood in the middle of them like royalty.
You people should start getting used to it now. When I become a celebrity, access to me will not be easy.
Those who respect me now will benefit later. Some girls began running errands for her. They fetched water for her, they swept the compound, one even offered to massage her feet. Another braided her hair carefully while saying, "Please, don't forget me when you blow." Zina soaked it in. She began walking differently, speaking differently, smiling less at people she once greeted. She felt like a goddess. Inside her heart, she had already won. On the first day of the competition, the agency team set up a small stage at the village hall. Cameras, clipboards, serious faces. Girls lined up nervously. Zina wore one of her best self-made gowns, fitted, bold, striking. Peace stood quietly at the back of the line. Simple dress, hair neatly packed, face calm but eyes alert. If you've ever seen someone who is already convinced they have won before the race begins, that was Zina. She barely practiced the night before. Why would she? No one in this village could strut better than her. The first few girls walked. Some stumbled, some were stiff, some smiled too hard. The judges observed silently. Then it was Zina's turn. She stepped forward with slow confidence. Her chin was high, her shoulders straight. She walked like the ground belonged to her. She looked like she had done this before. When she finished, she glanced briefly at the other contestants. Her eyes said it clearly. None of you come close. Then it was Peace's turn. Peace inhaled deeply before stepping forward. For a split second, nerves caught her. Her heel clipped the edge of the stage. She stumbled and fell. The hall went quiet. Before anyone could move, Zina laughed.
Maybe practice walking before dreaming of winning a pageant.
Peace froze for half a second. Her face burned with embarrassment. But then she stood up. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She adjusted her dress, lifted her chin, and began walking again. This time, something changed. Her steps were controlled, her posture steady, her eyes focused. There was no pride in her walk, only presence. She reached the end of the stage, turned gracefully, and walked back like someone who understood the moment. When she exited, tears rolled down her cheeks quietly.
You did well. It's not about falling, it's about how you rise.
Peace nodded. Meanwhile, Zina felt satisfied. In her mind, that fall had sealed everything.
She embarrassed herself. What competition is left?
What Zina didn't know was that the next day was not about walking.
It was not about posture. It was not about beauty. It was about something she had never practiced. The judges made an announcement before dismissing everyone. Tomorrow, there will be a final round. Each contestant will answer a question. Zina barely paid attention. Questions? She had beauty. She had presence. What else could they possibly need? She went home that evening confident. Peace went home thoughtful. And somewhere between pride and preparation, a question was waiting. A question Zina would not know how to answer because it required something she did not possess, even an ounce of it. The next day, the village square was even more crowded than before. The white bus was parked near the stage again. The modeling team sat in front, serious, observant, unreadable. Zina arrived dressed carefully. Her gown fitted perfectly. Her hair was flawless, her makeup subtle but striking. She looked like a winner. Peace arrived quietly beside her aunt. Simple dress, neat hair, calm expression. The contestants gathered on stage. The head scout stood up.
Yesterday was about presence. Today is about purpose. We are not only looking for a beautiful face, we are looking for someone who can represent more than herself. What does kindness mean to you? And how would you use it if you win the pageant?
The question moved down the line. Some girls answered nervously. Some repeated simple definitions. Then it was Zina's turn. She stepped forward confidently at first, but as the eyes of the crowd fixed on her, something shifted. Kindness. Her mind searched. Her heart beat faster. She had practiced walking. She had practiced smiling, but she had never practiced this. She forced a smile.
Kindness is being nice to people. And as the winner, I will represent beauty and confidence.
Her voice sounded steady, but the answer felt empty. Next was Peace. Peace inhaled softly and stepped forward.
Kindness is helping someone even when you gain nothing from it. A leader must serve, not shine alone. If I win, I will mentor younger girls who feel unseen. Not everyone is praised for their beauty, but everyone deserves to feel valuable.
The square grew quiet. The judges exchanged looks. The head scout nodded slowly. Minutes later, the contestants stood side by side again. Zina's heart beat confidently. She was still sure. After all, she was the most beautiful girl in the village. That had always been enough. The head scout stepped forward with the final envelope. The winner, he announced clearly, is Peace. The square erupted. Some gasped, some clapped, some covered their mouths in shock. Zina did not move. The sound around her became distant. Peace? Peace? Her ears rang. She watched as Peace stepped forward slowly, stunned but composed. Her aunt was crying. The modeling team congratulated her. Cameras flashed. Zina stood frozen. The prize she wanted so badly, the trip to the city, the scholarship, the opportunity to train with top models was gone. Not because she wasn't beautiful, she was. But beauty alone was not enough. As Peace held the certificate with trembling hands, Zina felt something she had never felt before. Emptiness. That evening, as Zina walked home silently, no one ran errands for her. No one massaged her feet. No one bowed. The girls who once hovered around her now whispered in small groups. She heard the words clearly as she passed.
After making us serve her, she's still lost.
What an embarrassment. Zina's steps slowed. For the first time, she replayed moments in her mind. The laughter when Peace fell, the mockery, the pride, the assumption that she had already won. Her mother looked at her quietly when she entered the compound. She did not say, "I told you so." She simply said,
My daughter, beauty can open a door, but only character keeps it open.
Zina went into her room and sat alone, under the same mirror. But this time, she did not admire herself. She saw clearly. Pride cost her the very door she thought her face could open. Meanwhile, 1 week later, Peace packed her bags. The white bus returned. She hugged her aunt tightly. The village gathered to see her off. As the bus drove away towards the city, Peace looked ahead with hope. Her dreams were no longer just dreams. They were unfolding. And in that small village, a lesson remained. Beauty attracts attention, but character wins honor.